who is the spearhead behind the Australian Croquet Academy. Good morning, Greg.
Good morning, Gareth. It's great to be here.
And the players just coming out to warm up at the moment on a beautiful Melbourne spring day. Great prospects in store, Greg. So the two players out there at the moment are Lester Hughes and Stephen Forster. Lester is ranked 116 in the world, one of Australia's top players. Stephen Forster in the bottom left-hand corner there, you can see he has a very interesting side stroke, and this is something that we'll comment on a little bit during the commentary. Now, Stephen is one of the world's top association croquet players. He is not usually a golf croquet player, which of course is the tournament that is under contest today. So it'll be very, very interesting to see how his incredible shot making matches up with the experience of tactics of the other players. One of my other co-commentators today is Rosie Landreeb, the first Australian women's golf croquet champion and somebody who's represented in croquet at the very highest level and even at gate ball as well, I believe. Good morning, Rosie.
Good morning, Gareth. Thank you for that kind introduction. I hope you can hear me. Can we just check all that? That's
yes,
lovely.
We are good.
What a terrific day it looks like there at Cairnlea. I think in New South Wales we're all very jealous that they're able to be back on the lawns today, albeit very safely from what I can see. So it looks great. What a terrific event to be having these three giants of the game all competing against one another. Wonderful.
Yeah, it's a very gripping and compelling prospect that we have ahead. And you can see there the players have gone down to corner 4 to start practicing their roll-ups to the first two. In fact, I wonder actually if that was the first shot. We didn't get an indication from the court that the game. It's not. It's actually Lester just playing his
now,
first
Gareth,
shot.
It
just looked. Well, I gather, Rosie, that under the terms of the condition, the play today, that the players will be using their own balls the whole time. So I think that each player will actually be keeping with a particular colour of ball. But I'm not sure about that. We'll see how that comes out as the competition progresses. But we can see that the players are all masked up, and that's good to see. Now it looks as if we're going to play the first shot in. So, Greg, where's the best place for this ball?
Yes, well, Steve needs to get it right in front of the hoop to put the pressure back onto Lester to make sure that he gets an advantage. And it's not a bad shot at all. Look at that. He's done extremely well to get that position.
That's
so
right.
Lester now needs to make a decision. So either he blocks the blue ball from running the hoop or takes it out. So it looks like he's going to take a position. No. Oh, it's a magnificent shot.
Well, yes, exactly what a magnificent shot, a clearing shot. And I think that's just a respectful answer to where they see or where they know Stephen is a bit of a dark horse in this respect. Stephen can easily run that hoop. So it was logical that Lester would take that challenge respectfully. What I was going to ask the rest of the commentary team, what do you think of the lawn conditions? Appears to have just been recently aerated. And this the lawn might pose some interesting lagging positions today. But Gareth, what do you think by looking at that?
Well, I think the best person to ask that is Kevin, because Kevin is actually one of the people that is looking after the lawns at the moment. So, Kevin, could you answer Rosie's question about the scarification of the lawns?
You're right, Rosie. The lawns have been scarified within the last 2 weeks, and they've been fertilised as well. So they could cause a few issues on delicate shots during the day, and occasionally the ball may run along the line of the scarification and not go where the player wants it. So it might be worth looking out for that during the day as well.
Thanks, Kevin. So Stephen tickling the blue into the front of the hoop. And Greg, is this another clearing shot?
It certainly looks that way, and it would be a great. Oh, he's got rid of the black, which is a good position for that shot. So yes, Lester's come out firing. Like, his attitude towards this game is really positive, and he's using his strengths. I mean, the single ball stroke is something he's very, very good at, and it's a weapon that he's using currently.
Thanks, Greg. So, Rosie, the clearance of that black there presumably was not what Lester was thinking, or was he thinking that yellow is to play and can easily clear the blue?
Oh, yes, definitely. Exactly what Greg had to say is it's a really strong attitude about beginning. Well, he's tried to jump that, which is just showing how aggressive he intends to be, how knowledgeable he is about Steve's skill shots, and how he's just got 40 years experience on the lawn like nobody else in Australia at the moment. So he obviously was confident at taking the jump. And that was because he thought Steve was definitely going to run that hoop. So interesting to see. You'll find this to be very advanced level. There's Steve jumping around first hoop. You've got to love him. I think he will put the pressure on for this first game. He's going to absolutely lay down the law to Steve. So it'll be great to watch. No pity pat here. There'll be lots of smashing balls around, which is great to see.
Yeah, thanks, Rosie. And I think that Leicester's yellow ball might have been offside as a result of that jump shot. I'm not sure. We'll soon see whether he gets moved over. But yes, it was a very aggressive move, wasn't it? It was. It really came out saying, "Look, I'm going to be clearing you. I'm going to be jumping you." And now he's just overshot that one a little bit there. So really intriguing start to the game. Stephen obviously pumped up too. Greg, anything special about how you might approach coming up to hoop 2 as the opponent's gone a little bit wide?
Yes, it's interesting that red's gone a little bit far. That gives black an opportunity now to take charge of the hoop and be able to, obviously you can't make the hoop unless you're in front of the hoop. So blue and black have a bit of an advantage here of getting at least 1 or 2 balls in front of the hoop. So Stephen's got a decision here to make. Leicester to positional play critical to get in front of there. So she's gone a little bit too far.
That's probably the softest shot that Leicester's played so far. So Stephen trundling in just behind. So Rosie, what can red see, do you think?
I think red can see black down near hoop 1 is what I think it can see. Not quite exactly that far. Right. What he was trying to do is, as you could see, he was trying to cut it in such a way that it was far enough away, but that he still landed in a reasonable position, a running position. As Greg said, you can't run the hoop unless you're on the right side of the hoop. And Stephen there has gone for missed it, unfortunately, the positional shot to block. Goodbye, blue.
What a beautiful swing Leicester has. It's just got a beautiful cadence, sort of pendulum, mesmerizing sort of flow to it, doesn't it? It's absolutely magnificent to watch. So, Greg, the position at this hoop dominated now a little bit more by Leicester, do you think?
Yes. Well, blue ball, we'll just see where it lands here this time. And come up a little bit short there.
Oh, that's gone.
And I think that's an indication of the conditions,
short, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe picking up some of the scarification channels that Kevin was talking about earlier. Yep, and Leicester being aggressive again and having a no. So, Kevin, viewers may be interested to know a little bit about the competition, and in particular the gentleman for whom the competition is named. So, as we see Stephen coming up to take this shot at hoop 2 and going through it very nicely, taking a 2-0 lead. I just wondered if you wouldn't mind just telling us a little bit about the competition and Owen Edwards himself.
Yes, Gareth. We've named the competition the Owen Edwards Golf Croquet Challenge, and so we intend to have it as a perpetual event. And this being the first. Owen was a pioneer of golf croquet in Victoria and in fact in Australia. Started playing in '84. Initially, he played association croquet and continues to do so at the Ivanhoe Park Club. But he had an interest in golf croquet and advancing the game, and he spent a few years introducing it to clubs and introducing it at state level and then at national level. He was a very good player himself. He's won 3 Victorian championships, 3 Australian championships, and represented Australia in world championships 4 times during his career.
And a very accomplished referee as well.
Well, that was the other facet of his life in croquet. He spent probably 10 years or more leading referee in Australia, teaching referees, writing about rules and laws and improving the laws. And promoting croquet as well.
Yeah, that's an illustrious career, and we'll hear more about the amazing contribution that Owen has made to the sport over the course of the weekend, and we'll probably be tapping you on the shoulder to give us to repeat that and embellish it a little bit more later on, Kevin. Thank you very much for that. While Kevin was telling us that, Leicester has managed to claw back hoop 3. He often in that situation, players are looking to make 2 hoops. Now, Rosie, this is something that you're a great advocate for. I remember you telling me you're never worried about being 2 hoops down if you've got an odd numbered hoop in front of you. Is that the case?
Yes, it's pretty much a basic tenet of the game. If you're in a position where obviously you want to go to the front, or you need to catch up to if you not just need to catch up, but you want to actually really take control of the game, and that's the attacking at the odd numbered hoops, so that you're running the odd numbered hoop very, very cleanly and getting into a position, preferably in front of the hoop. But again, still quite aggressive in this case to be behind the hoop, because you've only got a 6-yard clearance or 7-yard clearance, and that is often very, very handy to have. So as you see here now, Stephen's about to clear to the short side, and while that's okay and obviously stops yellow from having a go at the hoop, or red having a go at the hoop, the real issue there now is that Leicester has really only got a short clearance. So for this standard of play, 6 yards is no guarantee of a miss. And so we've got 7 yards in this case probably. And we've got a real game on our hands when you have players prepared to take on those odd hoops and really run down and pose that threat to the oppo, getting in position to be the first person to run the next hoop. Very important.
Yeah, thanks, Rosie. And Greg, I just noticed that Stephen is able to do what he's just done now, clear the yellow with the black, but he's also going to be able to do that with the blue. So is that a sort of a pattern that we see quite a lot?
Definitely, and because they're so good at it, you know, as we were saying before, it's a weapon that they can use consistently to take charge of the hoop. It's a good position with yellow coming down at 2C, and you can notice that it's wide from the blue ball as well, although blue will be shooting that red, we would think, at this point.
Ooh, well, I'm not sure what happened there. That was very interesting. We didn't get a good angle of that, but do you think he was trying to block the red and it curved away? Rosie, did you see that?
Oh yes, I think that's exactly what he's trying to do, and again, like you say, an unusual choice, but he must have been confident in that positioning. I know myself, I'd be a little bit more circumspect about the lawn, taking my ball away on such a soft shot. And I would, knowing Stephen and also the position of the game and knowing that Lester did his long run intentionally, I would be definitely have been taking the blue out solidly and potentially cut rushing my own ball over toward 5, which is also a pretty normal technique in these situations. So there's that replay.
Yeah, no replays. He was really not. That was just an incredible curve, wasn't it? I mean, Cairnlea is famous for some interesting character in the lawns, but that was really incredible.
Yes.
Leicester now. Oh, now what has happened there?
And
he didn't. Yeah, he cleared the black from some distance. From that angle, it looked as if the red ball might have even challenged the hoop, but. I don't think that did happen, but certainly it was a brilliant shot from Leicester. He's really coming out firing. So what we now know is that there is quite some curve on the line between hoops 3 and 4. And Kevin, is this something? I mean, you're very, very familiar with these greens. You can read them like the palm of your hand. Is this something that's well known on this particular lawn?
On this particular lawn, it certainly isn't. I had my hands in my mouth watching that shot. No, that was most unusual, really most unusual. Leicester's missed a hoop that he really have loved to have got, leaving Stephen an easy hoop to go for.
He'll be disappointed with that one. The score for the viewers at home is actually 2-all. It's not 1-2. And although it'll probably be 3-2 to Stephen now. Rosie, Stephen just tickled that through. Do you think he should have belted a little bit more?
I think in normal situations he would have done so. He may be feeling a little bit taken aback by what happened at hoop 4 or some of the situation there, and just preferred to run a nice clean hoop. That's still very much while it's not hoop running distance potentially on these lawns, it's still very, very much clearing distance for Stephen. It's not an issue. And as you see, Lester there has done his first lag past the hoop, which he looked to be a little bit disappointed about. So Stephen's obviously not overly concerned, but it'll be interesting to see where this black ends
up. And that looks, that's
stunning.
Sort of wide, sort of in hoop running position. Greg, what do you think about the position of that black ball there?
No, I mean, very difficult on these conditions to get it nice and close, and he's done well to get it up there.
gone to have a look at it. But the red, can it do anything about that black there, or is it because black would be able to run the hoop and red can't clear it? Is that what's on his mind, do you think, Greg?
Absolutely. So it sort of pays here to be a little bit shorter, just to make sure that we do stay in a good position. And now it puts the pressure on blue to play the next stroke.
So Rosie, what's Stephen's options here?
I actually think that Lester may have gone up. He may be able to run the hoop from the non-playing side and clear that black sufficiently to. So I think the pressure here is on Stephen to remove the yellow, potentially, and or take a great position for himself. So that's there again. But yeah,
and he's gone for position. Yeah.
He has. He must be
slightly off to the left-hand side. Yeah, but even if the red clears the black, it's not going to be able to clear it very far, is it? So the black should be able to clear the yellow. Would that be fair to say?
Well, yeah, except if Lester hits the way he hits, the way it deflects,
which he has.
He can make it wrong.
And that's why we have experts in the commentary booth, because that's exactly what Rosie said. And Stephen now quite a long way off with the black, with a very threatening yellow in front of the hoop. So we see what sort of distance is this, Greg?
You come in.
Great shot.
Coffee. With milk, no sugar, thank you.
Right. And we're getting Kevin's coffee order there, which is all very nice to know. I don't know whether he's getting a flat white or some sort of exotic Melbourne blend, but back to the action with Lester, with his yellow ball just having been unceremoniously cleared from some distance, and it'll be the blue to play. So Greg, Stephen has sort of engineered, after a couple of rotations, a reasonably favourable position here.
Yes, he has, and now he's using the black ball to get an even better position. But not only that, he's actually wired yellow from running the hoop itself. So it's a very good shot. Yeah,
it's a little promotion there, but it's well within Lester's shooting range, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So Lester's shaping up. We'll see this wonderful swing of his now. Little cast, lovely throw, follow through. Oh, has he put the black ball through? Stephen says yes, and it's interesting, isn't it, how Stephen pops the clip on top of the crown of the hoop, which is actually very much an association croquet. Little affectation. Now he's holding his mallet in the air. Rosie, what's this holding the mallet in the air business?
Well, that's a very, very traditional signal for the referee to come out and have a look. It's part of our wonderful etiquette in GC and in AC. So to call the referee elegantly is to put your mallet in the air with the end of it up. And just on the part, again, very respectful of your opponent, triple checking that ball is definitely through, and the referee, you'll see, is now running a straight edge or going very close to. Also, she seems to be out there to judge the position of Stephen firing at some point as well to the next hoop, which is hoop 7.
So that there's no doubt that the ball is through the hoop. Or is that? Do you think that's why Stephen called the referee? Is it because the shot itself there might be a fault committed when he plays the shot? Yeah.
Correct.
That's right.
And that fault, and Kevin's probably the best to clarify what that's most likely to be, or Greg.
What a wonderful shot, though. That's a beautiful shot right in front of the hoop. So, Greg, fantastic outcome there for Stephen.
Yeah, Stephen's got a bit of an advantage here. So Leicester's, because he's been shooting so well, this is interesting. So he's able to put his ball into a hoop running position. He's looking at taking out black with his red ball. So he'll line up black now and get rid of it because it's in that hoop running position.
Yes, he's really bargaining on being able to clear the black, isn't he? By lagging with the yellow there, not trying to clear it like he was earlier. It's a sort of a switch around in the tactics. Rosie, is that something that you see players do a fair amount? Sort of change the style of their play as the.
Absolutely. So what Leicester's doing now is a classic Chris Clark initiative, and that is to put a ball into running position with your first lag and to clear with your second, particularly if you've got a very good clearing shot, obviously, like Leicester has. You can be confident. The distance was easy for Leicester, not particularly difficult at all. And so he is now punting on Stephen missing the yellow ball so that he can have a clear and easy go at the hoop with yellow. And he's confident to have that go at the hoop with yellow. It's going to be hard for him to roll it all the way down to the next hoop, though, which is the difficult thing.
And Rosie, if you didn't do that, what you call the Chris Clark maneuver there, then and instead you always missed it. Oh, that's unusual to see a miss like that from just 6 yards or so. But just to come back to the question, Rosie, if instead of lagging your first ball, you actually went to try and clear the opposition, what's the disadvantage of doing that?
Well, on the short side, because they're playing clearing to a short side, all you do it was, and look how far he's managed to promote it. It's really really great that on that angle he's got it down there. Short side clearances, again, as we said when we were back at hoop 4, not difficult for these players. So doing it initially there's no real advantage if you're prepared to back yourself on the second ball. It means you're going to have first attempt at the hoop and they're not. And that's really, really important. As you see, there's very little interaction in these games.
Ooh, so Leicester tickling one down. A little bit steamy, just coming off the edge, but Stephen a long way away with the black ball, and he slides that now towards hoop 8. The score 3-4 in his favour. And look at that for a shot. That's it's actually coming a little bit on the left hand side. Greg, is this a shot at the hoop now?
Well, given what how he's been performing, yes. Ooh, a bit unlucky.
Yeah,
but it's been working for him, and I think that's an important part of the game, is that you get your rhythm and you get your routines in place. Stephen here he's not thinking about anything else. He sees a hoop, he's trying to get it, and unfortunately,
and Stephen uncharacteristically pings off the side of the hoop. So now this leaves the hoop quite open. We've got the referee, who is Claire Keating from the Williamstown Club, coming out again. And as Rosie observed, a fantastic tradition in all forms of croquet that everybody is terribly polite to each other, and you never get any argument with the referee. There's no sort of soccer tactics being used here. It's all very, very civilized. So Claire marking the balls. Rosie, why is it necessary to mark the balls in this position?
Because the balls are incredibly close together, and there could be a situation of a double tap. And in golf croquet, this is really, really important. Leicester needs to not only move the balls away from one another when he strikes them, he needs to be seen to be doing that as well. And an interesting anecdote that you'll like here, Gareth, is that Claire Keating is Leicester's wife. So I can assure you Leicester will be on his best behaviour, because there will be no quarter asked for or given with Claire. So an up-and-coming player herself, very, very good player on the rise. It doesn't look as though he got as much distance, but that was to be expected with how close the balls were together.
Yep, that's right. So he was really, as Rosie said, he was really trying to get that black at least another 7 yards away. But now black is still in the vicinity of the hoop. Greg, what's the play? What's the play from here?
Well, with black blocking red and taking red out with the blue ball and next stroke, or just getting rid of red altogether now, because yellow is the next ball to play, he's got some options. And the decision-making process, I mean, he's got to look at all the options first, and it looks like we're getting a lag, possibly wiring the red ball from running the hoop. So Stephen's thinking would be to get rid of the red with his ball next time.
And in comes that yellow, which was unlucky not to make the hoop earlier on, and the blue is catapulted down to the northeastern corner of the court. So Stephen now will roll it back in, and it will be red to play. Now, a crucial thing here is whether red has a shot at the hoop. What do you think, Rosie? Do you think red can see the hoop here?
He approaches everything so confidently. It looks like a jump to me. Looks like he's probably going to go for a jump. No, he obviously had a very clear shot. Very easy and clear shot.
Yeah.
So there you
that
go.
Levels it up at 4-all. Fantastic. And the game very, very evenly poised now. Stephen trundling the ball, a nice little lagging shot to within about 3 meters from the hoop. And now this is interesting because in the past, Leicester has had a crack at these, Greg. And do you think he looks like he's shaping just to roll this in?
No, we'll put it in because he's playing so well with his single ball shot. He can get rid of the black ball with his red one. So he's gone a little bit deep. Now, the reason being is black would hit that away in its next shot. So he's thinking ahead.
What about this blue, Greg? I mean, that's sort of really something of nothing, really, isn't it? Just there?
Yes, it's pulled up a little bit short, but he's still in charge of the hoop.
And Rosie, this has got to be a clearance now. And it's successful.
Yes. And we see this is Leicester's forte in this game at the moment. He really is adapting to the conditions. We saw a little roll off with that first lag of Stevens, which I don't think was anticipated. So I think he was thinking he was getting a bit closer than that. But like Greg says, Leicester's done the right thing with the yellow and gone behind and perfect. And Leicester will have a go now.
Yep, 5 yards out. This is certainly won't be any doubt in his mind here about having a go. Oh, just momentarily distracted. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Now, of course, remember this is the hoop where. That's interesting.
He may have called a fault on himself, Gareth. He might have moved that ball.
Oh, he moved the ball. Oh, well spotted, Rosie. Right.
He might have.
Right.
I'm not sure.
Yes. Yeah, no, because Stephen's playing the blue. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Amazing. Well, again, another good example of the sportsmanship and etiquette that's a characteristic of this game. Of course, nothing to do with the fact that his wife Claire was watching from the pavilion. So, beautiful clearance of the black. What a great stroke that was. And of course, it means that the yellow will have another go. Greg.
Yes, well, Stephen will have to line this one up with the scores at 4-all. This has become a real critical hoop and a game changer. So whoever gets this will take an advantage into the end of the game.
That's right, because we're playing to the first to 7. So this is a traditional game of golf croquet where 13 hoops at the most are played. with the first person getting to 7 being the winner. So a 5-4 lead here. And if he was to really smack this through and take it up to hoop 10, that would really be a tremendous advantage. Oh, but he clangs into the hoops, and now the boot is on the other foot, because now it's Stephen with a sort of a 2-yard shot at the hoop and a possibility of trundling it up to the next one. So, Rosie, that's presumably what Stephen will be aiming to do here.
Oh, you would hope, yes. And in fairness, Leicester, and again, when both of these gents get to play Robbie, they will be finding themselves in a position where Robbie won't turn down 5-yard hoops. And most very advanced players don't. So you wouldn't turn down a 5-yard hoop to clear the blue, for example. You would take the hoop. And that's really, really important. But yes, Stephen would normally also go for this hoop, although it's not a very AC looking hoop. It's a bit scary for an AC player, but it's just a job for a GC player.
Yeah, it certainly is very scary with those other balls around, isn't it? Oh dear, Stephen. I mean, that was a big miss. I mean, right off the left-hand leg of the hoop. It didn't even pretend to go through into the jaws. It was he'll be very disappointed with that one, and Leicester will be able to bring his red ball back down into the mix. Hit quite hard, Greg.
Oh, fabulous shot.
Yes, getting rid of red is a good move.
So, Stephen, with his side style of play, again, not troubling the hoop there at all. And look, the in front of the hoop's quite open now. There's nobody in hoop running position. Rosie, how do you start crafting an advantage in this sort of situation?
Well, you really need to be careful, because although nobody's in front of the hoop, Steve still has the strong play, and I'm sure Greg will agree, because he's down on the boundary. So anybody who gets in front of that hoop, if Leicester decides, that blue is in a fabulous spot to clear anything Leicester puts up. And also, even though the black can clear to the short side, it could easily clear and stay, so what we call stop and stay. So Steve still has the upper hand at this point, assuming he can either connect with the yellow or be in a position where he can block wherever black clears the yellow to and run the hoop himself. So, yeah, interesting, very interesting to see. I think also Leicester has been watching a lot of the body image and how Steve is approaching things, and he seems to be the player who is playing very aware of what Stephen is reacting to. As you can see, Stephen's doing lots of reaction, and in GC it's a bit like poker. You want to keep your cards close to your chest.
All right, so the red ball has come into a sort of a hoop running position. Black ball is not in a hoop running position, but he's looking to place it. Greg, what are his thoughts here? Do you think he's got his mallet on a very particular spot?
Just making sure red is not able to run the hoop.
Right, because of course red will play before the black, of course, on the next turn. So, but surely the blue would have been clearing the red. The red really shouldn't be staying there, should it? Yeah.
That is true.
So, given, I suppose so it's really the black is a potential runner here as well, isn't it?
Yes, Gareth, and the other thing too is that in blocking the red, he knows that Leicester will go. Leicester's shown his hand. He knows Leicester will go for the long hoops, and that Leicester may even attempt to jump this. So what he's just trying to do is stymie and put himself anywhere to make it difficult for Leicester to even have a go.
Yeah.
Or to run it so cleanly that he can get up to the other end.
All right. So let's see if Oh, off the black goes. Now, this is very interesting, isn't it? Because the black is not really going to be able to stop the yellow from having a go, but the yellow could clear the blue or go for the hoop. Greg, what would you do? Assuming that the black doesn't trouble the yellow here, do you think the yellow will go for the hoop, or do you think the yellow will clear the blue?
Well, yellow, I'm pretty sure. Now, with the black ball, and we can't underestimate our opponent. So if they're in a hoop running position and they can score, we need to eliminate it. This hoop's going to... He's got past it nicely.
No, I think yellow is still faced with this choice.
Yes, that's right. By shooting for yellow, it would have made it a little bit more difficult for him to make the hoop.
Okay, let's see whether Leicester is able to get this through. Shoots. Oh, blobs in front of it. And that leaves blue with a shot. But Rosie, do you think blue will have a clean swing on this?
No, I think that's unfortunately what's happened with the... Sorry, just to be blunt there. No, I think also too. I certainly do. Looking at the way the hoops are reacting to the shots too, all credit to whomever set the lawns, because it does look like they are competition setting, very, very nice and tight, firm in the ground, and they're offering a amazing challenge for the players. Thank you, Stephen.
Great shot. And Rosie, really interesting there that Stephen's side style, which is quite unusual in the sport. In fact, I don't know anybody else that does play side style. We actually favoured him there. He was able to adopt a stance over that blue ball that meant that it wasn't really hampered like it would have been for you or I.
Yes, we all forgot about that. Actually, he often refers to himself as the side style hack, which is obviously tongue in cheek, because he is an absolutely fabulous player. As a side style player, he was taught that way, to play that way, by his mother. His mother and his grandmother, both very big in Australian croquet, hence the reason he plays. He was dragged to the lawn like a lot of croquet children are, and that's where his very, very elegant side style comes from. As you say, very few players in the world, a couple, I think, in the UK, but a lot of golf croquet players do jump side style, we notice, and they don't jump centre style. I'm not quite sure the effectiveness of it, but interesting that he has got such amazing control and he's not working down the centre of his body. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. And Greg, we see here the incredible turn on the lawn. Really, all of the balls that came in, Rosie was telling us that fascinating stuff about the side style. They all sort of swung in from right to left. So clearly, judging the borrow on this axis is going to be quite crucial. Yes,
absolutely. And it is a skill. Like these guys have been around for a while. They've got the experience and the knowledge, and basically they're going to need it to make some good tactical decisions based on the lawn conditions and how the balls are rolling. But the way they're single ball shots and hitting frequently, I'm not quite sure.
That was unusual.
The hoop.
Yeah. That's a most uncharacteristic shot there. Really
it may have been that he didn't have a shot on yellow.
So
that's what
Kevin,
it looks
like. Kevin has a comment, I think, about as Leicester pegs things back to 5-all.
Yes, I noticed Leicester's previous clearing shot, putting the black ball on the border. You could see he also deliberately wired black from being able to hit yellow. So Stephen's only shot was to have a go at the hoop, and that's why it looked like he missed the yellow. He was really going for the hoop. It was his only alternative. So a great shot from Leicester.
It was.
Which rewarded him with the hoop in the end.
Well, thanks for that insight, Kevin. We've now got Lester stroking that in. Rosie, that looks like a sort of spot that is really setting itself up with a target on its back for the blue. What do you think of that?
Yes, on Leicester's part. So the shot that Stephen took again was a very classic position for these centre hoops that we often do, and that is just to take it a little bit further. It's normally a little further back than that. And it discourages a player from setting up as closely as Leicester did, but he must be very confident that he can clear that blue, although it looks as though, to me...
Oh, what a shot! What a shot! Look at that. Rosie absolutely
Don't you love his
called
confidence?
that there. That's incredible. I mean, you called that perfectly, Rosie. The confidence of being able to hit that shot. It's what a good 14 yards, 12 yards, and absolutely in the middle. Incredible stuff. And that sets him up now with a shot at the hoop with the red, presuming that Stephen doesn't reciprocate in kind. Incredible stuff. Now I gather that we had a little bit of a dropout. It was centre ball, wasn't it? It was incredible. We had a little bit of a dropout earlier, I believe, and viewers may just need to know how we got to this situation, but we are at 5-all, and Stephen has missed his clearance on the red, and that will give Leicester a chance to go 6-5 up. Greg, what did you make of that incredible shot from Leicester?
Yeah, he made it look so easy, and all his strokes. I mean, he looks relaxed and calm, and he's just getting into his routine and making sure of it. So it's just those basic elements of the game, and just making sure that they're done properly. And it's another great shot, and the advantage of going down towards the next hoop.
Although he's hit it a long way past, that's something perhaps that's, he's now 13 yards away from where Stephen's likely to put his ball. Rosie, would you have hit that as hard as he did?
Well, I think that, as you were saying, we were saying before with the lawn particularly, the balls are running on. It may not have actually been his intention to get all that far, but that's just where we're going to do it from. My reception at the moment's a little bit poor, guys, so there might be something going on with KO.
Yeah, I think so. Certainly the feed we're getting is a little bit indistinct, but we can make out some coloured objects which we can guess where they are. Nothing challenging the hoop here, I don't think. It's black and blue certainly around, yellow around, and Leicester having a good look at everything.
Gareth, can you see Robbie in the clubhouse watching?
So Robbie would be very interested to see how the other two players are approaching this. Robbie, an amazing student of these lawns, will be studying every little curve and borrow that they've served up so far, and will be plotting what he's going to be doing at each hoop. So Stephen now with the black ball, looking as if it's going to clear the red and stay in the vicinity of the hoop. And up it goes to the northern boundary. Looks like Leicester will do the same to the black. We can expect this black ball to fizz off up to the north. And up it goes. What a beautiful contact that is. It's just incredible. The centre ball that he manages to hit every time. Greg, this is something that the academy is very strong on, isn't it?
Yes, well, making sure that our skills are the best that they can possibly be, and I mean, it's no accident. These guys have practiced for many hours prior, and as you say, Stephen's been playing for over 40 years, 45 years. So that experience and knowledge and skill is coming to, they're using it right now.
Rosie, an interesting thing here. This is obviously hoop 12. Stephen absolutely has to make the hoop to stay in the game. But is there a deeper sort of thing to consider as well, that you've got to really make sure that you're not stymied for hoop 13?
Yes, and we often talk about it. I mean, in New South Wales, we've nicknamed it doing the fiddle faddle. So you will often find players will at some point jaws the ball, or the person who needs to do the hoop, run the hoop, will jaws it and try to play so that he gets clear position to run 13.
Oh, and Leicester goes
stunning
through.
Shot.
Great play to win the game. So
underestimated.
No need for fiddle faddling. Just a clean run of the hoop, and the first game is won by Leicester Hughes. So the first game of the Owen Edwards Golf Croquet Challenge goes to Leicester Hughes. He was actually behind for a very significant part of the game, but really came out swashbuckling with a tremendous style, thwacking the balls away, going aggressively with jump shots and long hoop attempts. And Greg, what are your thoughts on that first game?
No, but particularly for the first game, to see that kind of standard. I mean, they haven't warmed up yet. I mean, they've got the whole competition in front of them, and the standard of play is that's been demonstrated has been exceptional.
That really was a fantastic game. Rosie, your thoughts on that opening salvo from these competitors?
Oh, what a great way to start croquet back up in a season when, particularly the really serious situation in Victoria at the moment with COVID, the guys played amazingly well for people who probably haven't lifted a mallet for quite a few months, and I'm sure we can check up on those stats later on. Particularly Stevens works as a theatre technician in the hospital down at Geelong, and he would have been right at the coalface in terms of this. So for him to be able to have the amazing pleasure of having a weekend off, coming up and playing when he's been under huge pressure. I notice he's clutching his tummy a little bit these days. He's looking nice and well padded after COVID, like most of us are. But it's just an amazing first. I'm sure Owen, and I'm sure he's watching, would be loving every moment of it.
Absolutely. It was an incredible standard of play, and some really interesting subtleties as well, and the difference in style between the two players, the way that Leicester came out at the beginning with an incredible attacking intent, really put his cards on the table and said, that's the way I'm playing this game. Stephen having a couple of goes at being nuanced, but then suffering the borrow of the lawn. And Kevin, your impressions on the way that the two competitors handled the conditions with your expertise of this lawn?
I think you've described it perfectly in the last 30 seconds or so, Gareth. I was going to say that there's a vast difference in style between the two players. Given the way the lawn has played a couple of times, those soft shots, Stephen has to be very careful later in the day and tomorrow. If the lawns get a little bit faster during the day, but those balls that don't go straight, that curve off a bit, will do so even more. So I'll be watching to see if Stephen adapts his game a little bit more towards the way Leicester was playing. But both players were playing really well. I loved it so far.
Yeah, that's a great point, Kevin. I think the idea that these players they can change gears, and Stephen has come out with a more subtle approach. But as Kevin points out, that Stephen is perfectly capable of firing some cannonballs, and so it would be really interesting to see how he changes that. Now he's read the lawn a little bit. also interesting to see how they change when they're playing Robbie, because of course Robbie is Australia's top player. He's number 3 in the world. He's actually only a few index points off being number 1 in the world. I think his move to number 3 almost occurred overnight. So, Rosie, any thoughts on how you might change a game if you're playing someone of Robert's immense profile and standard?
Absolutely, don't miss. That's the only the major advice.
Well, that's
you're not going
easy.
to have you're not going to have many opportunities offered up to you. You may see things that you've never seen before, but assume it's because Robbie's very confident that he's going to actually run long hoops, hit long roquets, and that even then he's going to play second hoop strategies, meaning everything he does, he has in what he's going to do in the next at least 1, but probably 2 hoops. He'll be reading his opponent. He'll be looking for their strengths and weaknesses. And the difference here, I suppose, at this level of play is there really aren't too many weaknesses. Most of these players are happy to back themselves on just about every shot. And that's probably the difference between this level of play and normal club play. Club play, if you know you're a good hoop runner, you get in tight, you run lots of good hoops. This level of play is much more open and much, much tougher because the skill level is so high. The interest today will also be around Robbie's mallet, I imagine. He looks like he's reverted back to his Dawson, his Timber Dawson from his very early days in the game when we all knew him as, 16-year-old Robbie. So really interesting to see he's abandoned that long GC mallet head, which has been his trademark, or was for a short period of time there, and gone back to what looks to me to be just a simple 9 or 10-inch head Timber Dawson. So,
yeah, it is. It's very interesting considering pretty much every other croquet player sort of goes the other way and adopts the fancy carbon fiber and everything. So it's as Rosie said, it's very interesting to see him going back to the traditional sort of style of mallet. Greg, are you able to spot anything in the way that Robbie approaches his warm-up routine? I notice he's got 2 balls on the lawn. He's sort of doing a bit of a mixture of hoop running, clearing, lagging. Is there a method to this, or do you think he's just doing what he fancies as he stands in front of the ball?
No, he's definitely got a routine, and this is the most critical part of the game. You need to make sure that you are ready for play. And in the beginning of the game, you'd be foolish not to, that first positional play at hoop 1. I think that's got to be in everyone's bag before they start a match, just to make sure, because nothing should be a surprise or you should be able to have a proper game plan. And part of Robbie's game plan would be to ensure that he not only gets the feel for the court, but he's also got his rhythm and his routine sorted. So every single shot needs a routine, regardless, and every single shot needs to be taken with enough care and attention that, we virtually every shot needs to be a winner. So you can see here now that he's making his way to the first. So this is the first shot of the game. You can see that's pulled up short. Now, if he was to start the game right now, he would start with a ball that was not in the best position. So this little practice that he's doing now is just setting him up for success and making sure that he is playing the shots to the best of his ability when he's ready to do so. The single ball shot, you can see now that he's lining blue up for yellow. Not only does he want to hit the yellow ball, he wants to hit it in the middle and take into the game all those positive attributes. So he's starting to build his confidence. When you enter a game and you've got your confidence built and you've got to be ready. So this part of the game and these moments we're seeing now is preparing him for success in this match. As we see the toss being done, and looks like Robbie's got the blue ball. So he's just had a little practice. So he should get this in front.
He should. So here we go. Game 2 of the Owen Edwards Golf Croquet Challenge. Robbie Fletcher playing that blue. Oh, would he be a bit disappointed with that one, Rosie? Very short.
Indeed, very short, and we can definitely say that sitting from here, because he is number 3 in the world, and we're all a little shocked in that respect. But there may be some grand plan.
Well,
but yes, normally that would be very short.
I've played shots like that, so I'm feeling quite good.
I
now.
agree.
So
me too.
So Stephen taking his time over this next shot. Is there any psychology in this? Like your opponent's just played an uncharacteristically sort of fluffed shot. Do you deliberately then take a little bit of time, Greg? Is that something that players might do, or is that not done?
I don't think anyone would do it deliberately, but you don't play a ball and don't play a shot unless you are ready. So, and that means making sure that not only you're breathing and all that sort of stuff. Part of Stephen's routine is to make sure that he's organised and ready. So it's good to see him taking his time and making sure that every shot's a winner.
This time, Robbie plays deep and at the right length. Now, these two players, of course, famously won the Robertson Shield, the Association Croquet World Championships, not so long ago, in the same team together. So they know each other extremely well. And Robbie now playing the blue ball into an attacking position. Rosie, What's the play with red here for Stephen?
Really, I think, it boils down to a personal preference. Robbie's got the upper hand here, very much so, even though he dropped that first ball short. He's got 2 balls in position that he could potentially run the hoop. And as you see, he's actually looking to run the hoop even from this position. Yep. That's why he was potentially down on the ground. He might be promoting the blue. You never know. No, he was always going to go for the hoop. So,
but interesting that he didn't clear the yellow, because the blue is in a better position to make the hoop than the black was. So, but is that just a sign that he's come out with aggressive intent, or that he would just think that he just wants to get it done?
No, I think you'll find, Gareth, that even if yellow can clear the blue, where's it going to clear it to? The boundary. Are you worried about Robbie?
No, that was the black. Why didn't the black clear the yellow? Why did the black have a go at the hoop and not clear the yellow?
Because at this level of play, the objective of the game 100% is to be the first person to run the hoop. So you every time, I'm not sure, but Mulliner has a fabulous saying, and Greg could probably confirm this: see hoop, run hoop. So at this sort of advanced level of play, you'll find players, yes, that if they even see or have an inkling, they'll be having a go.
Right.
And the Egyptians are the best exponents of that game.
Well, I think that's a really good insight. Many of the viewers at home. Greg, you were going to say?
It's his weapon, and he needs to use them. It is something that other players don't have. That he has the confidence and the ability and the skill level, and the percentages for him to be successful in that stroke are a lot higher. So if you're looking at percentages and you've got a game plan based on percentages, if you've got a shot that's within 7 yards, you're foolish not to have a crack, because it is sending a message to your opponent. So look, if you leave me here, I'm going to make this hoop. So psychologically, and it's another advantage.
Well, it's great to have the insight of Greg and Rosie on that. I think a lot of lesser players would have thought, oh look, my blue is in a better position, I'll go for the hoop with that one after clearing the yellow. But as Greg and Rosie have made clear, that's not what these top quality players are all about. They see the hoop, they go for the hoop. Now on this occasion, Stephen is going to clear, and off it goes. and that will leave yellow in a commanding position. Greg, you were going to say?
Yes, you should never underestimate your opponent and just think, oh, well, if they miss. And the thing here, these guys are not thinking is if they miss. It's, oh, they're in a hoop running position. I need to do something about it. So that's where the aggressive game comes in. And you can see now, Robert obviously aiming for yellow or the hoop. We're not quite sure from this angle. But he's not marking around because his percentages are extremely high for success on either of those shots. So if you've got it, use it.
So the hoop should be won by Stephen here. Oh, commentator's curse there. Just what should have just been a routine stroke through. I will apologise to Stephen next time I see him, and I won't make that mistake again. So, Rosie,
and it is something that we all do.
It is.
Yeah,
Sorry, Gareth.
I mean, Rosie was making the point earlier that the hoops have been really well set. They're very tight. The ground is obviously hard. And, you know, a very, very slight deviation is enough to lead to that outcome. So it's totally understandable. So, Rosie, Robbie's choice is here. Is the yellow going or is the red going?
Well, really interesting. I don't know how much of yellow he's got. And if he is going to hit it on one side, yeah, he may not have had very much of yellow. That was where he was headed.
I think we know what's going to happen now,
Steve's
though.
done well here. But he needs to really get Robbie down to the bottom boundary because Robbie could.
Yeah.
It's no foregone conclusion that Robbie wouldn't clear.
No, so that's right. And he's actually put him off to the east. Yep. Yep. He's put him off to the east. You know, I think Robbie will be able to see that red. Yep. It's maybe about 18 yards or so. So
the other idea of doing
makeable.
that. The other idea of doing that, Gareth, is that he now shoots back behind two, which means that
beautiful
he's
angle there.
In a further.
Oh, great shot! Great shot. That's incredible stuff. Amazing. Sorry, Rosie, I interrupted you because that was just a superlative shot there. And wherever Stephen puts this ball, the black will be able to clear it.
It will.
Greg.
Absolutely.
Greg, that sort of cross court shot there. I mean, if Stephen had put Robbie further to the south, maybe that would have made it a little bit more difficult. What?
Yes, there was a bit of a target too because you've got the hoop and the red ball. But as you can see, his approach, there was no hesitation whatsoever. He just walked up and I will, and bang. And that's why he's so consistent and done so well in the sport of croquet, because his attitude and the ability to play these shots consistently, you know, that's what makes him a world champion.
Yeah, no, it's phenomenal to watch. So, Rosie, Robbie with an interesting choice here. I mean, if he brings the blue in, then it's a sitting duck for the yellow. What would you do here?
Well, we can't see the blacks out of picture at the moment, Gareth, but I think you'll find that he's putting blue into a playing position because he's confident of what he can do.
That's a reasonable runner, isn't it? Let's face it, that might well run the hoop if it stays there.
Yes, but I mean, Stephen's really got to have a ping at this potentially too, so he's not going to.
He's not going to. So as you said, it depends on where the black is, doesn't it? It really does. Whether or not black can get that yellow out of the way.
Oh,
it's a long way away. It's a long way away. Robbie trundling the black ball up here. It's going to be quite short. And I think that blue ball has a bit of a target on its back. Greg, where any special thing that can be done here apart from just clearing?
Oh, not that.
Ooh, not
Not
that.
that.
That's a special thing. Well, I think
Yes,
Robert,
I think that was
Robert's
way down on his list.
Robert takes a 2-0 lead. So that was very unfortunate for Stephen. What should have been a routine clearance has ended up basically jarring Robbie's ball so that it can make the hoop quite easily. So 2-0 to Robbie.
We'll put that down as a. We'll put that down as a bit of a setback. So Steve can now he's taking control of the next one. So he's got a good chance and an unusual miss by Robbie.
And Rosie, Robbie not doing the Chris Clark there, not doing the sort of lagging and then taking the oppo ball out with the second shot.
Well, to reiterate what Greg had to say, Robbie doesn't have to. Robbie can hit with either ball whenever he wants, so it's not really on the whole you can say that. What was interesting in the previous hoop was that Stephen didn't take an option to jump. Even if it was an angled jump, it was a good chance to potentially remove blue from a playing position. It didn't need to be whoop-de-da away, it just needed not to be able to run the hoop. So that would have potentially been an option. This is a jawsing. No,
yeah, so interesting. I'd like to come back to that, Rosie, because if Stephen had jaws the ball there, it would have put him in quite a commanding position because Robbie can't extricate him from the hoop, can he?
Well, unlikely, very unlikely. So yes, it would have been better to be jaws potentially in that position, and then when you do run it, you run it nicely. So now Robbie's got this beautiful lag to hoop 4, which potentially should have been Steve's. So, yeah, this is what we talk about when we talk about the odd hoops, playing the odd hoops correctly.
I think for all those croquet players at home that are hoping to improve, Rosie's advice on that is very, very good. Whenever you're on an odd-numbered hoop, there's a chance to make 2 hoops. It's if you either jaws or you can run through very cleanly, then you can actually get a little bit of an extra kick. So, Greg, Robbie with 2 balls in front of the hoop now, and a hampered shot for Stephen.
Yes, and that first black ball coming down, that if black ball had gone past the hoop, then Robert would not be in this position. Like if the positional play is just as important as hitting another ball. So his positional play has basically won him this hoop. And you can see he's just hit that without any thought. Like it's just bread and butter. And it's just nice to see somebody demonstrate a stroke the way it should be played.
Yeah, and he's made the hoops look very wide, and yet, as Rosie observed early on, they're very, very tight in the ground and very narrow. So to make the hoop with such an impression that it's just a wide open gate is incredible. So in comes the blue, and yeah, you can't imagine it will be there if the yellow, although going by what you guys were saying earlier, the yellow would probably have a go at the hoop rather than clearing the blue. So let's see what Stephen does with this one. And slides that into a perfectly brilliant hoop running position. Rosie, black ball, what options?
I think yellow's on its way out of the game. Okay, up to corner 2. Oh,
or perhaps the black might.
A nice wide miss and a nice wide miss. Go, Stephen. Here's your chance. And this is what you do, as Greg said, capitalise.
Right, but this is a classic situation. Surely getting rid of the blue is a better option than going for the hoop on this one, which is what he's done.
Yes, except look where blue is. Look where blue is and where the next hoop is. And that's always a consideration as well. So although blue has to come back, and we understand that, are you still giving Robbie too many chances at getting back and having a shot? But having said that, you're quite right. Both of Robbie's balls are out of position. It's not. It should be a foregone conclusion for Stephen not to put the mock on him. but it should be a foregone conclusion that he gets this hoop, unless Robbie does some outrageous shooting.
Which
And he'd
that's a
need to
brilliant
hit that
camera
red.
angle there. That's a brilliant camera angle. Greg, do you ever give up on a hoop, Greg? That's what I think.
Oh, never.
You know, you never. So even if it looks completely hopeless, would it not be better just to get, you know? Let's look at this.
Wow.
No, well,
great shot.
Yeah. So I mean, if there's a sniff of hitting this, you've got to go for it. I mean, every hoop is just gold. Like you've got to play each game, each hoop is a game, and you never give up.
There we go, through again, and that is a very nicely won, very brilliant contested hoop there from these players. It gave us a lot to talk about, a lot of lessons to be learnt from how they approach things there. Stephen not coming through the hoop with all that much force, and Robbie is able to position himself in front of hoop 6. Rosie, another odd-numbered hoop. Sorry, Greg, you were saying?
I've just noticed in the last stroke that he played for his hoop, he settled down a little bit. His routine is a lot smoother, and he just looks more confident when running those hoops than earlier in the game.
So
again, the body language is noticeable, guys. We can see that Robbie is, nothing changes. If he missed those 2 balls at 3, nothing changes in his body language. Steve's a bit hard on themselves, and golf croquet is a lot to do with reading your opponent as well, and being aware.
Jump shot, I think.
So Steve chosen to jump.
Oh
yes. What a hoop!
Spectacular!
What a hoop! Well done. Well done. We'd love a replay,
incredible.
please.
Yes, replay,
absolutely.
please.
Take a bow,
That's
Stephen Forster, because this is incredible. Look at this. Nice little jump over the yellow
3,
and
4,
bouncing in
through.
and loads of top spin through. So that's fantastic. What a way to level up.
And Robbie's smiling as well and congratulating Steve. Lovely to see.
And then returning the compliment by playing a perfect lag into hoop 7. Just to say, okay, you've done that spectacular shot. Now deal with, yeah. Very nice. Okay, and here are the Chris Clark tactics that Rosie has been telling us about. Just not going to clear that black, but instead just put a runner of your own in.
Hopefully not that short, though, Gareth. I don't think he meant
No,
to
that
quite
was a bit short. That was a bit short. All right, so very clear what red has to do here. It has to dispatch that black or go for the hoop itself. Who knows what Stephen might be thinking. Might even try and jump it. You never know.
Well, after that last shot, he can do anything.
He might be treated to another dance. Just does the sensible thing and clears the black. And now, of course, as Rosie pointed out, the yellow not in a great position. Yep.
Did you notice that Stephen played that centre style and not side style? He played that
No, I
clearing
didn't spot
shots
that, no.
centre style. Yeah, he did. And he is
very
proficient centre style as well. Very proficient.
Yeah. Well, maybe the camera angles are deceiving here because he is tickling this one up into the jaws. Oh, he just hits the leg. Okay. This is the first sort of technical position we've had. I've been very interested to know your thoughts on this. Greg, maybe?
Yes, well, forcing Robert to do a jump shot, and we haven't seen Robert play a jump shot, so maybe it increases the degree of difficulty slightly rather than just having a normal hoop swing. But regardless of where he puts it, you can only hit blue and black a small distance away, but it'll be interesting to see how this turns out.
No, so it has a nice clear on the yellow. But Rosie, why the urgency for Robbie to jump there? Why not just leverage the fact that yellow is stymied against the leg of the hoop?
Again, Robbie's play is such that, and the pace that he played that at, if he had succeeded with the jump, he would be quite a long way down the lawn toward the next hoop, which again is this odd hoop play that we talk about. In the jump shot, he didn't get much air, which might have indicated how he approached it. And as you say, we haven't seen him do any jumps. He might not be as practiced with his jumps as he was. So I would say the jump shot was taken at such a pace that he was hoping to jump over yellow, leave yellow in that stymied position so that it wouldn't lag to hoop 8, wouldn't be able to lag to hoop 8, which would then give him an added advantage at the next hoop.
Now that's an excellent point. By taking the initiative to jump the hoop, it leaves yellow in that really, really useless position. So they're thereby seizing a double advantage, not only making the hoop, but having an advantage at the next hoop too. So a great insight there. When your opponent is locked up against the leg of the hoop, there may be an opportunity to really make them pay for that. Greg, the blue is just trundled nicely in front of the hoop, leaving Stephen quite a long shot with the red.
Yes. The other thing too is that I love the speed in which Stephen hit his previous stroke, where he was able to get black to the boundary, but also, keep close to the hoop that was his 4. And Robbie doesn't muck around. That's a rush. He smacked that right in the middle. There's just no better feeling as a player when you hit him in the middle like that. Oh boy, it feels good, and he must have lots of moments where he's feeling good.
Yeah, and it makes a beautiful noise as well, doesn't it? So, tied at 3-all. Seen some amazing play so far. Stephen hitting this quite hard. Sort of a billiards shot, but not hitting the blue, which is the one he wanted to hit. And that will give Robbie a reasonably... Well, I shouldn't put the curse on Robbie like I did with Stephen earlier, so I'll just let Robbie do the talking with this shot. There you go. No need for any commentator's curse on that one. Robbie safely down towards hoop 8.
He got a bit too much wire, I think, for what he was intending.
He did.
When you catch the wire like that, you miss out on a little bit of distance. And looking at his face, you could see he was just a little disappointed that he got that much wire. But he'd have to be happy that he's the first person closest to hoop 8.
Yep. Yeah, tremendous bonus to not only make the previous hoop, but be first at the next hoop. And even though, as Rosie said, he didn't quite get the distance, that's curving in. That's a beautiful lag, but it's certainly in shooting distance of the blue. And as I said, even though Robbie didn't get the blue down there to the extent that he wanted, it's still able to clear that blue. But we'll see, Rosie. This is maybe a chance to test the idea that Robbie might go for the hoop rather than clearing the red. What do you think?
Oh, it's so close to being a juicy in off, Gareth, I think almost, that unless yellow's in some horrendous position, I'm pretty sure blue will go for the hoop. But that's just me watching Robbie. I've been lucky enough to partner Robbie a couple of times, and yeah, he'll go for the hoop.
He's certainly shaping for that. Greg, is this what you do? You go for the hoop? Oh well, yeah.
Yes. When you've got that skill level, it just looks like it doesn't look like a long hoop, but it's just brilliantly executed, and it's a pleasure to watch.
Yeah, it's just he makes it look easy. I mean, it's incredible. All right, so Stephen now in a bit of a pickle. He's 5-3 down. He's got a slightly hampered there, but with his side style, he can cope with that. And putting his ball reasonably deep, but certainly in a running position. Any special tactics here, Rosie, when you're 5-3 up and going for hoop 8? Can you be more aggressive? Or do you do the opposite? Do you think, well, the opponent has to be more aggressive?
Well, I think with the first leg, what Stevie has said is that if you put something in front, I'm going to clear you, basically, or I'm going to go for a hoop. So in putting something to the boundary the way he has, or near to the boundary the way he has, he said there's going to be no advantage in you shooting me away. Although you never know. Yeah, Robbie may still be going for this red. It's quite short for him. So I can't see from his... No, he's going to do a placement shot.
Just places it up. So this now gives Stephen the classic choice. Greg, what do you think? Is this a hoop run?
Yes, well, it's certainly on the table. Yeah.
So for those of you who have just joined us, the score is 5-3 to Robert Fletcher. Stephen needs to claw one back. Remember, it's the first up to 7. So Robert only needing 2 more hoops to take out this game. The first game was won by Lester Hughes in a fantastic tussle. It looks actually like Stephen's going to take out the black.
Unless he can cut it quite a way up the lawn, there's not too much advantage in him doing that.
No, because even though the yellow is in a running position, the black should be able to clear it. That's a shot of about 10 yards or so, and very much within Robert's frame of execution.
The message Steve has given Robbie in that, and also given to Lester, is I'm probably going to turn down 5-yard hoops or 4-yard hoops, which is an important thing. Tactically, it would have been worthwhile having a go just to let them know that you're not worried about having a go. So at this level of play, it's not so much tactical as the messages that you're sending with your skill, capabilities and confidence.
Well, he's come up with the result that he wanted, Stephen, because Robbie uncharacteristically missed that shot. I guess I'll come back to the psychology of it, though, and that is... Oh, good hoop.
Oh, it's a beautiful shot.
Great shot. Okay, 4-5. It's just this idea that you're behind. You need to make something happen, or do you? What's the difference in the way that you might approach the game when you're 5-3 down?
You set yourself up to make it as easy as possible. You go, Greg.
You're right. There are times to take risks when you're in a position to when you've fallen behind. But I think the secret to all of this is like the score just does not matter. Regardless of what hoop you're for, you are going to get that hoop, and then at the end of the day, you find out that you've won the game. So it's just a case of if you are behind, yes, there is a tendency to take a few more risks. Okay,
that's an interesting insight that Greg is basically saying just take every hoop on its own merits. Don't think about the score too much, and that there's no special treatment when you're 3-5 down or 5-3 up. Oh, look at this! Oh, sliding that ball up, it tacked the hoop, but just clipped the right-hand wire. Rosie, this is a hoop running chance for Robert?
Yes, well, we know what Robbie's likely to do. Robbie's disclosed all his form. He's telling us that if he's in front of a hoop, he's shooting at a hoop. And that's all there is to it. So
Well,
the oppo should be taking that into consideration when they're making their decisions.
here's that shot from Stephen, which looked as if it might curve in. Stephen, of course, is very knowledgeable about the curve on this hoop 3-4 axis, but now has a difficult little problem to deal with. Robbie against the wire. I'm not sure whether that blue is a runner, if it is actually against the wire. Interesting choice there, Greg. What's happening there?
Well, Robbie could easily get rid of the yellow ball by putting it over there. He can actually get rid of one of those, but hopefully red will be able to get blue out of the jaws in a couple of shots' time. But Robbie might even just jump it. Like, very hard to predict what's going to happen. But Stephen's trying to set himself up with an actual stroke with his other ball.
Yeah. So Rosie, the point of that previous shot from Stephen was to put his yellow ball into a position where it could attack the blue. Is that right?
Correct, and clear to the long side. So he's trying to put as Greg said, he's trying to give himself the maximum opportunity to clear that blue if he needs to. But again, Robbie may throw something in the mix by just simply trying to jump it. You can tell he's in a quandary. He doesn't like to play. If you can see the hoop, he doesn't like not to go for it. So you can see him weighing up what might happen here and the chances of the blue being a crush, which is another thing, or a fault, an issue. He's looking very carefully at how far it'll go if red hits it. So
it's certainly the longest that we've seen any of the players. Oh, he's going to jump. He really, really thinking about this a lot. There's a chance as well, even if he messes up the jump, that he might land on the blue and the blue will come out. But I suppose then the yellow just clears it. Anyway, let's see what happens here. This is very interesting. Okay, well, the blues come out. Nothing in front of the hoop now. So it'd be really interesting to see how advantage is choreographed here. So if you're Rosie, if you were Stephen, where would you be putting this yellow?
I think you'll be looking at a wide position off black, or a wide position. Interesting. I'd be going deep personally, but just so that I had a potential runner sometime. But none of the four balls actually have a shot at the hoop. Robbie's looking at a promotion if he can, or some sort of a wire from red.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, promoting the black into a hoop running position would. I'm not quite sure where the red is. I think the red's off to the right of our screens, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Promotion.
Or just moving yellow.
Oh no.
Oh, he's looking for a wide spot. Beautiful.
Okay. And black doesn't. It just sort of goes the opposite to what he intended, I think, doesn't it? He would have liked the red to be where the black is and the black to be where the red is. So, Greg.
Yes.
Yellow put into a position where perhaps it might even be wired from the blue. Beautiful clunk, wasn't it?
Yes, another lovely shot.
So big pressure now on Stephen to clear this blue ball. If he doesn't, Robbie is in prime position to take a 6-4 lead. And as Rosie observes, it's centre style now for this vital shot. Oh, beautiful. Right in the middle. Right in the middle. And not with too much pace either. So the yellow ball is remained in the vicinity of hoop 10. Now, Rosie, does Robbie just come back in, or is it deep, do you think?
Again, we just need to see the positioning of the other two balls. Oh well, yes, he's coming in. He's quite happy. I think the angle of yellow is that he's concerned that he may be able to jaw, so he's making sure that
So
he has got a ball in a good position.
Yeah, I mean the red ball is a very long way off. So the shot for Stephen here, just to get back into the mix.
Well, clearly Robbie thinks he's clearing with the black, so clearing yellow with the black. Stephen's tried to put in a block and it's a bit short.
Yep, this is certainly within Robert's capabilities to clear from here. No, he doesn't. He just tickles it in. Okay. All right, yellow to play. Obviously can't leave the blue there.
No, but again, as we see, it becomes difficult because it's a short side clearance. So again, this sort of roquet length for Robbie's no stress.
Looks like he's looking for a wiring position on yellow. So looking at a couple of turns, and sometimes it pays to be a little bit patient and not put all your eggs in one basket. But if blue is wired from yellow and red takes out black, then blue is in the dominant and controlling point.
Yes, blue looks quite dominant now, doesn't it? With yellow not seeming to have a shot on it.
Well, I think it might have a slither.
So maybe just black sets up, or maybe even a tiny little tickle of a promotion, maybe.
Yes, he's tried for it.
Oh, tries to come through the hoop the other way. Okay, well, we'll be having a change of commentators in a moment. Our next two commentators are champing at the bit, waiting to come in and give their insight as Robbie takes a 6-4 lead. And as we come up to the to play hoop number 11. So, Greg and Rosie, thank you very, very much for your contribution this morning. If you feel like sticking around, absolutely no problem at all. But we will welcome our next commentators, who are Alex Verge and Peter Freer. Good morning, Alex.
Hey there, Gareth. How are you?
Yeah, good. We've been treated to some fantastic croquet this morning. And good morning, Peter.
Good morning.
Now, I haven't been able to watch all morning, so a brief summary of the morning's play for me.
Absolutely. Well, we had a fantastic first game between Stephen and Lester Hughes, and that went to the 12th hoop, which Lester made to take a 7-5 win. And in this game, Robert has been in the ascendancy for pretty much all of this game. Stephen has been clinging on, but as we can see now, Robert just needs one more hoop to take victory. And swiping at this one, all missing, and we're going to have Stephen with the red ball playing, and he's got this nice yellow in front of the hoop. So, Alex, would you be looking to clear the black here?
With Robert, it's interesting. Can one clear far enough? I mean, Robert just had a miss. That's probably his one miss for this half hour. Stephen's quite close. He's going to clear, but you could actually just sit on the black ball. Depends on what the lawn conditions are like.
Well, we've been observing some very interesting things about the lawn conditions. As you probably noticed, the lawns have been recently scarified, so there's a lot of little grooves in the lawn. We've seen some really amazing curvature, particularly on the line between hoops 3 and 4. So these are things that you'll be able to spot as the game goes on. But Robbie now has to clear, of course. Here it comes. Oh, and he misses, so through it goes. Now, Peter.
Well, there we go. Never listen to me.
Peter, Stephen now faced with a very makeable shot. Should he be? He's 6-4 down. Does he need to think about the next hoop?
Absolutely. He's trying to get position at the next hoop, and it's a beautiful shot. Look at that.
It's gone a little bit.
Maybe not runnable,
Peter,
but he's in control.
Yes, he would have preferred to be back about 3-4 feet, so they still had a chance at hoop 12, but he had to get down there. He couldn't just muck around. Now, a lot of junior players would be trying to jaws hoop 11, but at this standard, you don't muck around jawsing, you just try and run the hoop cleanly, get down to the next hoop.
Oh,
a little bit long.
Oh dear, he's blocked yellow's clearance on blue.
Oh, what are you doing here, Alex? Are you clearing, or are you just positioning, knowing how?
No, I'm
the
taking
clearance has been
position.
blocked? Yep.
I'm taking position. Red has blocked yellow's clearance shot on blue.
So as Alex said, Robbie is just tickling that one in because the yellow ball cannot clear the blue. Now, Alex, we did see an amazing jump shot from Stephen earlier in this game. He's clearly not frightened to do clearances and jumps and all sorts of things. Would it even occur to him here, do you think?
Stephen doesn't play a lot of golf croquet. In fact, he doesn't appear in the world rankings. So I've been really interested to see what he decides to do. A jump shot clearance here is possible, or he could promote red into position. Yeah,
Oh,
he tried the
jump. He tried the jump.
You know, really good association croquet players that come into golf croquet tend to try for the big shots, whereas the little blocking shot is really the most superior shot to play. You know, it's the highest risk, a block shot, but it's also the highest return.
Yes, we saw
very close to an in-off.
It was, wasn't it? We saw in the first game Lester coming out firing. He was, really shooting hard and taking things on. Everything, if he could see the hoop, he was just going for it. Now, as you've said, we at club level, in particular, you see a lot more blocking, and the blocking is very effective, but we haven't really seen very much. Oh, that's very wide. So Robbie now in total control of this hoop.
Yeah. And going for it.
I don't know where the yellow is.
Only other ball in run.
Yeah. Peter, do you know where the yellow is?
Yellow is up close to the camera.
Hoop 4. Oh, sorry, that's red.
No, yellow got cleared to the fourth corner by blue, remember?
Okay, well, the yellow will be coming back in now because Robert has failed to make that
Don't forget,
shot.
red is in runnable position, even if it is on the north boundary.
Okay, that's optimistic. But as Alex said, it's got a clear view of the hoop, and it could.
Oops. excuse me, yellow was in the diagonal opposite part of the court.
Yeah. So yellow comes trundling in. Now,
And
looks as if
bit
blue
too
will be able
far.
to pick it off.
Yeah.
Stephen was definitely trying to put yellow where blue couldn't see it on the other side of the hoop.
And that's gone a little bit too far.
It's a very good defensive position for in case blue blobs.
Now, being 6-4 down here, is Stephen has to make something happen. Does that affect the shot choice, Alex?
Well, I think it must be 6-5, surely, because Stephen got hoop 11. So it should say 6-5 on the scoring.
It should say 6-5, yeah.
And what it means is that Stephen not only has to win hoop 12, but that gives Robbie first shot at 13. So it's a double-edged sword trying to get 12 and 13 together. So Stephen is going to need to have his second, if he makes hoop 12, he's going to need to have his partner ball in a really good position for an approach or clearance at 13.
Now, it's going to be very important that Stephen is able to clear the black with his red, because that black is very, very threatening. Stephen, of course, going down in the first game to Leicester at this hoop. You won't want to go 2 games down.
Tell you what, there's no shame losing to Leicester and Robbie, especially if you've made
Certainly
any hoops
not.
in those games.
Doesn't quite get the block there, Alex.
No, but I consider that still to be a good shot. He's putting psychological pressure on Robbie for an unforced error.
Yes. Robbie stalking, pacing. Oh, and
you see,
pays off.
two runners.
Exactly what you said. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, this will be interesting. We'll have our first, if Stephen can make this hoop. I'm not quite sure where the blue is. Did you see where that was, Peter?
Out to the right, near hoop 4.
Okay. So, and Stephen looks like he might be trying to use the yellow to block the transit of the blue.
Yep.
Are there any special things that you would take into consideration based on the fact that it's not just important to make this hoop for Stephen, but important to be in a good position to win hoop 13? Would that have been affecting the way he thought about that?
I tell you what the most important thing is. You must ensure that the ball you make hoop 12 with doesn't just grovel through the hoop. It has to come through far enough, about 14 inches, to actually give you a shot down to runnable position or clearing position at hoop 13. The best possible situation is for a ball to be lodged in the jaws of the hoop. Then Robbie, if Stephen can lodge in the jaws of the hoop, then Robbie can try and jump and knock him through. Now that would give Stephen hoop 12 and first shot to 13. So there's a dream. I doubt Robbie would risk jumping a blob ball in the hoop for that reason.
Yeah. Well, Stephen giving this a lot of thought.
Stephen doesn't know whether he should run with
with red. Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah.
Gary. Yeah.
No. I think I was just going to ask Peter what he would do in this situation.
The biggest problem is that if you get too cute I mean, you could set up a promotion shot after you get through the hoop, but that means taking the time to set things up. I don't like promotions to other hoops, but there are some players who are very, very good at it. At the moment, he's trying to work out whether he should hit black, but there's no real point to doing that. I would be trying to do, as Alex said, jaws hoop 12, and then see if I got an opportunity to wick off one of Robbie's balls to get down to 13.
So just to be clear, there, you're saying that if the red was to just jaws into the ball into the hoop, that
yes, that would give him a lot of options.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, he's certainly
I've got to
giving
tell
you a lot of
if
thought.
I'm Stephen, I'm just making the hoop. Make the hoop
Yeah.
and then play 13. You know, all this
Right. Yep.
all this farting around, Jesus. Makes it a slow game.
Fiddle faddling, I believe. Rosie was referring to fiddle faddling.
I was thinking of a longer multi-syllable expression that we have used growing up.
So, Stephen really thinking about this. He does have options, though, of course. So he can clear the black, he can run the hoop, he can try for the jawsing. There's all sorts of...
Trying to jaws with red now is a very dangerous thing. You're best to jaws from an angle, because he might just dribble through the hoop so that he's actually still in the jaws but has technically run the hoop. That would be a disaster.
Really, really thinking about it. This is a moment of high tension in this game.
And it's come after a couple of bad misses, you know.
What's he doing now? What?
Black can only clear one of them.
Yeah, okay. That...
He lost confidence in his ability to run the hoop because he had missed a couple of clearances.
He did.
You know, you really need to be able to replace your confidence instantly in golf croquet, because you don't get a chance to sit on the sidelines and warm up again. You know, you can't afford to become negative.
Alex, the other thing that we saw, I think it was on hoop 6. Robert cleared from a very, very long way away, further than where he is now. So it's, you know, wherever Stephen puts this yellow, Robert will be able to clear the red ball. Oh, unless he puts it in as a blocker.
Oh, look at that. That's extraordinary placement.
That's fantastic, isn't it?
Well, now we'll see.
Fantastic.
Now we'll see what Robbie can do with this.
Here we go. Game on. Well, that's a really, really brilliant block from that distance.
Oh, it's extraordinary.
Robbie just stroking in, and that's very interesting too. I mean, what's Robbie doing with that one, Alex?
He probably wants Stephen to clear him down to the north boundary, so he's nice and close to 13.
Yeah. No, but it seems that there's not really achieving very much. That's all. That's putting the blue in there. I'm not sure. Is there a deeper purpose? Has it got something to do with? Oh.
Quite often, when you don't know what to do, you just go back and you lurk. You know, you're there. Right. It's never the same unless you're there at the game.
Okay, and it has also been pointed out that black was already at hoop 13. So if red had made that hoop there...
I don't think I've ever seen so many misses from Robert Fletcher.
No.
No, he must have been working, not playing lately.
So, clearly now, I don't know, what would you do? Would you put the red through with the yellow? Would you just clear the blue?
No.
What's happening here?
No. I'd be hitting blue with yellow on the right hand side, send blue to corner 4 and yellow to corner. Oh Jesus. I mean,
so that's a really, really
That is the danger
really
place.
strange shot. Yeah, because he can't move the red.
Yeah. You know, he had the opportunity to wick off blue. Unfortunately, that may well have lost him the game. So it's now 6-all.
Oh, Robbie's played right to the end. That's amazing, isn't it? That's an incredible.
That is number one worst shot.
Yeah.
You know, we all dream of that as a nightmare. So red really has no option but to go back through the hoop.
Yeah, and it turns out that black will be the first ball up at the hoop, basically.
Yes, yeah. So Robbie's actually had a reprieve with red's shot here.
So Peter, what's a set of scenarios here? No, I was hoping to hear Peter's insight on that one. All right, so red manages to get up quite high, and this is, and in fact, red will be able to clear the black ball.
Red's done very well getting where it's got.
It has, very well. So although black is in a running position, the red will be able to clear it, which means that if yellow can go into a strong position, Stephen might actually sneak the hoop. Let's see.
Unless he's just blocked himself from
Unless
the
he's
clearance.
blocked himself. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So now will blue go to the left in defence, or will he go in front of the hoop, in the jaws of the hoop? No, off to the left.
Well, it looks like he's going off to the left.
Yeah.
He's thinking about it. So do you think he's tied up against the wire there, Alex, or do you think he's got a bit of room to
I think
maneuver?
he must be.
No,
I think
he's
he
just
must
going to come in front of the hoop. Look. Oh no, it's coming all the way over to the side. Very interesting.
He's left himself free to do any sort of shot he wants, and it's very difficult to wire yourself from the ball where it is now. It's the skinniest position for wiring.
Stephen adopting centre style here for this shot, and shoots and misses. Oh, a big moment in the game. Stephen sliding his red ball past the black, and that gives black a chance to win game number 2 of the Owen Edwards GC Challenge. Big miss there, Alex.
It certainly was. But yellow's runnable as well. Well, let's just see what happens. I love that Robbie's preparation for every stroke is identical.
And there it goes.
Beautiful.
7-6 to Robert. Yes, you're right. The stalking of the ball there.
Yep.
And as you say, it never varies, does it? It just stays
the same. little bob up and down before he hits. So every stroke is the same. Every stroke is done with the same technique, and it just gets improved and improved, and his mind knows exactly what it has to do. He's brilliant to watch.
No.
I got to say, I would never have expected Stephen to have done so well against Robbie Fletcher. I think that's brilliant of Stephen.
Well, if he'd managed to clear the black ball at the end there, he would have been he would have had the shot for the game. So, as you say, a very good competition. He was behind for most of the game, and so to come back to 6-all with and some amazing tactics at hoop 12, weren't there? I mean, we had a lot to talk about at hoop 12. Lots of nuancing, really, really interesting discussions there.
Yes, we can replay that hoop 12 and discuss what could have been done. It was a pity.
It would be definitely great to have an extended look at the action at hoop 12, because there's really a lot of lessons in there for players. hoop 12, of course, is crucial. If you're behind, you can't afford to lose it. But on the other hand, you have to make sure that you are set up for hoop 13. And unfortunately for Stephen, he did the worst thing possible, didn't he, Alex? He actually left his ball wide.
Unfortunately, yes. Yeah. And, basically, he actually could have cut rush blue to corner 4, and he would have probably gone to approximately the same position that red ended up in with that shot. And then he could have just tapped. Yeah. He would have been relying on blue not to clear red out of the hoop. That would have been a low percentage chance that Robbie would have taken, but he would have taken it for sure.
Yeah. Well, I gather we're trying to get some of the footage from hoop 12 to replay again, because it would be great to get your insight. Alex, here we are at hoop 12, and
excellent.
We've got Robbie first of all attacking with the black. Now, if you remember, this is where you pointed out that the red ball was a bit of a distractor, and it clearly did its job here, because Robbie clangs against the left upright, and
Very
it's
uncommon,
also here that you sort of started to think, well, is Stephen a little, is his confidence about making the hoop not allowing him to have a go? And that's where we get into this protracted thought process.
Yes, I do think that when you play golf croquet over and over and over, when you play it all the time, you begin, a lot of these things that Stephen is thinking about now mechanically become intuitive thoughts, and they happen in split seconds. So this was clever, block from the opponent.
Blocking the blue. And it was a nice block too, wasn't it?
Beautiful, but he then lacked the confidence to back himself. And that's what it comes down to. You are backing yourself because you know the statistics of how often you're going to make that 2-yard hoop.
Well, funnily enough, Alex, in the next game when Leicester is playing, Leicester's tip that he gave everybody at the start of this tournament was, it's better to back yourself than it is to back your opponent missing something.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's the problem
now,
when you're the one that makes hoops 12. No, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
You go.
Well, this is the bit where you really realise that Stephen was not thinking about he wasn't confident about making the hoop, and this is why he gets into this very long process about what he's going to do here. Is he going to clear the black?
John Rich's book.
Yep.
Stephen is thinking now, he's missed 3 important clearances since I arrived on commentary. So that's what he's thinking about now. He's thinking, well, it's not as long as a clearance shot, but, there's a very small space for my ball to go through in that hoop. So if he lacks the confidence, then, when your brain sees the ball clanging into the hoop leg, you have to be able to clear that and be perfectly confident and know that you can make that hoop probably 19 out of 20 times, really. I don't see that Stephen needs to be this lacking in confidence.
I thought it was only 3 games. Is it 3 games?
Yeah, that's right. So, Peter, do you have any thoughts about this position here?
No, it's just that Stephen's in the classic dilemma of an AC player trying to work out what a GC player would do. I'm with Alex. A while ago, she was just saying, just run the hoop. I mean, even if he clangs off with red and black clears yellow, red's going to be still somewhere in the vicinity, and he should still maintain control of hoop 12. So he's just got to back himself. Well, that's what I do anyway.
Yeah,
I think what Stephen lacks is having done drills of running hoops. See, Stephen is an AC player who is used to getting runnable position 8 inches in front of the hoop. So he's now faced with 2-yard hoops, and golf croquet players have done their drills. They know how many times out of 10 they make a 2-yard hoop, or a 3 or a 5-yard hoop. So Stephen doesn't have that knowledge of his own abilities with which to make the decisions.
And it's very interesting here because I thought that he was going to go for the hoop, and then he just walks away. And so it was an amazing sequence of play. That, I mean, it's really, really interesting to reflect on his thought process. And yeah, it'd be great to interview him about that later on, maybe. So this is the situation in the match.
He may want to forget it.
We've got Lester and Robert both having won their games against Stephen, so now they will play each other. And Robert is the first to strike, and that is falling a little short, I think.
It was very close to the hoop.
Yeah, very close. So, Alex, where does the red go now? Does it just go deep?
No, the red goes southwest of the hoop. Well, my red would go southwest of the hoop.
Yeah.
Just so long as if it's going to be cleared, it can only be cleared into corner 1 or the close bound. Now,
that's about where you put it.
Quite a lot further than that. I would have gone a couple more yards.
Peter, are you happy with that position?
Well, actually, I would have been a yard back towards where they're hitting from, so that can only be hit to the near boundary, about where black is.
Oh, okay. Yep. So you'd have gone south.
Because the problem now is if blue hits red, he can put it into the corner. Now, Robert will still be able to clear out of that. But, Lester will still be able to clear from there, but it makes it harder. Over.
All right. Well, Robert has to do something, you would think, with the red ball. It's both a runner and a clearer. So, where's it going to go? Into the corner, Alex?
Corner 1. I'd put it into corner 1, or if the lawn was good enough to do a block, I'd just try and sit on top of it.
Right. I think in this whole passage of play so far, we've been here for 2 hours. We've only seen one block. Well, there was an attempt at another one. Look.
Yeah. But I suspect that will stop Lester running the hoop.
Yeah. Okay.
And
so
will it stop him
looks as if
clearing
it's the
black?
case.
No. It's not going to stop him clearing black.
Okay. So.